Hello. Today I thought we would talk about boundaries. I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with, myself included, is either having appropriate boundaries, learning how to set boundaries, or even just really knowing what boundaries are and what they can pertain to. So first, I'm going to talk about rigid boundaries. And rigid boundaries can be a good thing. It depends. When we're talking about boundaries, it really depends on who the person is. Because obviously you want to treat your spouse differently than you want to treat a complete stranger. So rigid boundaries are more of that really closed off type of boundary. So examples of that would be like, not having a whole lot of close relationships, avoiding intimacy in close relationships, may seem kind of detached or withdrawn from other people. Porous boundaries would be the exact opposite of that. So oversharing personal information, like you tell your whole life story to someone you met 5 minutes ago, that's not really the best boundary. Difficulty saying no to other people, whether, whatever it is, borrowing your stuff, covering a shift at work, just anything like that. Depending on other people's opinions would be an example of a too porous of a boundary. And then fear of rejection, when others don't comply with them. So then healthy boundaries are going to be that mix of rigid and porous, kind of molded into one. So that would be, valuing your own opinion, not compromising your values for others, shares personal information with the right people. Like, so the other day I went to Walmart and I was in the checkout, and this guy, the cashier, he goes, "Guess how old I am?" I don't know. I don't want to guess how old you are. So it was really awkward. It was just like I didn't know what to say because I didn't want to guess his age because I'm not good at guessing ages, and I didn't want. First of all, you're acting like you're 4, so I'm probably gonna guess 4. But you have a job, so you have to be at least 16. I don't know. He told me he was like, I don't know, 20, 24 or 25 or something, and it was just really awkward. And then I heard him after I was done at the checkout. I heard him say to the guy behind me, "Oh, guess how old I am." Okay, so that's an example of not good boundaries because it's just not appropriate to ask every single person that goes through the checkout how old you are. Especially like if you knew him, that might be different, but I'd never seen this guy before in my life. And so it was just a weird situation. So there's all sorts of different types of boundaries. The first one I want to talk about is physical boundaries. And so that would be like, when is it appropriate to shake someone's hand, and when is it appropriate to maybe, greet them with a kiss. If it's your spouse, then probably a kiss, because it'd be weird to shake their hand. "Oh, hi, honey, how's work?" And you shake their hand, that's weird. But if it's, like a stranger or, someone you haven't seen for a while, or just introducing yourself, it would obviously be weird to kiss them. Or I think, too, of different cultures have different physical boundaries. So, like, in Europe, they do the kiss on the cheek thing. Whereas if you did that here, it would be really super not good. But then if you didn't do it when you're in Europe, that might be offensive to them also, because that's just how their culture is. So it kind of depends on, where you're at in the world and things like that. Intellectual boundaries refers to other people's thoughts and ideas. So, being able to be respectful towards other people, even if you don't necessarily agree with their ideas, because you're not going to agree with everyone, and that's fine. But being able to say, "Hey, let's talk about something else. I don't want to argue with you." It's really important to be able to set that boundary, so that it doesn't destroy a friendship. And sometimes, setting boundaries can destroy friendships, and sometimes it can be really awkward. But at the end of the day, you kind of got to look out for what's best for you, and not in a selfish way, but just in what's healthy for you. Because if you're not healthy emotionally, you're not going to be helpful for anyone else, and it's going to affect all areas of your life. So it's really important to be able to set those firm boundaries. Another one that I think a lot of people struggle with is material boundaries. So, like loaning people things, like loaning people money, vehicles, Even letting someone live with you for a little while, or what you think is going to be a little while and ends up being a long while. Like if someone continues to ask you, hey, can I have 20 bucks? And you're like, sure, it's just 20 bucks. Well, if they do it 5 or 6 times, I'm not good at math, but that's way more than just 20 bucks. And they say, oh yeah, I'll pay you back. And then they don't ever pay you back. Learning how to say, you know what, I loaned you $60 the other day and I haven't gotten it back yet, so I don't really feel comfortable giving you these $20. And yeah, it sounds, they might think, oh, you're being selfish, but at the same time, you need that money for stuff too. I mean, $60, that's a tank of gas. Like, you gotta buy stuff for yourself, or you gotta, not just give your money to everybody. And don't get me wrong, giving money to people is just fine when it's appropriate. But if someone's taking advantage of you, to be able to say, you know what, I can't give you the money right now, or I'm not going to give you the money anymore, so please don't ask. So learning how to be able to say that in an appropriate way is really important, I think. And then same thing like borrowing vehicles. Like, oh, hey, can I borrow your pickup? Sure, I don't care. But then if it comes back and it's, something's broken, or they didn't return it right away, or you have to ask them a bunch of times, like, hey, can I get this back? Hey, can I get this back? Stuff like that. Sometimes it's better just to say, you know what, last time I let you borrow it, it came back broken, so I would really prefer you borrow someone else's vehicle this time. Things like that, or tools that you need, or anything like that. And the other example I gave was your house, or apartment, trailer, wherever you live. If someone's like, hey, can I come crash on your couch? Sure, I don't care, stay there for a night, that's fine. But then if they don't leave, or they're not a very healthy influence for you, if maybe they're using drugs, things like that, that's not a good environment to be around, especially if you're in recovery or whatever the case may be. It's really important to be able to say, you know what, I love you, if they're friends, but I really can't jeopardize XYZ. I can't jeopardize my sobriety for you to be able to stay here. I can't jeopardize my relationship with my spouse. Things like that. It's okay to say no to people. And then time boundaries. I think that is one that a lot of people struggle with, and that is the one that I struggle with the most, is people abusing your time. Like if they're like, hey, you want to meet me here at 8 to do this, and they don't show up till 9. That's not very respectful. That wasted an hour of your time. Another one I think of is getting called into work. So I work at a restaurant, not so much anymore, but, and it took me a long time to say, you know what, I'm not going to come into work. If you think you're going to go in for an hour and it ends up being 6 hours, or you finally have a day off and they call you on your day off and they're like, hey, we're short staffed. Can you please come in and work? It's okay to say no. I need a day off. I need some time for myself. I need to get my, stuff at home done. I have a sink full of dishes that I need to do. Things like that. It's okay to say no in those types of situations, and being able to say no without feeling guilty about it, and saying it in a respectful way. I think that's really important, because no one's going to want to be like, nah, screw you guys, I just worked yesterday. That's not cool, or really appropriate. So, I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that if you struggle with boundaries, you can kind of, try to set some more firm boundaries. It's okay to look out for yourself to a certain degree. You always want to help people when you can. But at the same time, if you're not in a healthy emotional state, then you're not going to be much help to anyone else. So it's just really important to be able to set those firm boundaries. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave me any comments that you have. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks.